Shōnen, a genre I'm sure we're all very familiar with. From the ever-growing Jujutsu Kaisen, the never-ending One Piece to all the lesser-known ones. And most of these lesser-known ones have the same boring old protagonist. Let me set the scene. A quiet, lone wolf Alpha Sigma, way stronger than he lets on with a dark backstory. All the ladies throw themselves at him, but he ignores them, because he has sworn to protect his family. On the outside, he's a vigilante, a cold pacifist but could easily kill. But on the inside, a man who doesn't want anything in return for saving people who are in need of it. Yeah, whatever. We've all seen and heard of it a million times before. So why am I making a video on Sakamoto Days? I mean, doesn't have the exact kind of protagonist I just mentioned. I mean, yeah. Now, I'm not really involved in any anime or manga communities at all, basically. And I barely hear anything about this manga. But at the same time, I don't think I've ever seen a manga as beloved as Sakamoto Days. All I've seen is people loving and praising it. So, our goal for the day is to find out, or at least try, to find out why. I won't go over anything too spoilery in terms of the plot, so don't worry too much, that one random viewer who hasn't read it. So let's just start with explaining the primary plot, which is that of a retired assassin, Taro Sakamoto, a former legendary assassin who was one of the strongest assassins out there, in terms of strength, speed, and ability to make anything a lethal weapon. But after he fell in love with a woman and had a child, he now just runs a convenience store and helps out around the town whenever he can. He also got a mustache now, but he also gets a 1 billion yen bounty placed on him, which of course would attract assassins, trying to, well, assassinate him. And whilst trying to get rid of this bounty and uncover why it got placed on him after he already retired being an assassin, we meet a bunch of assassins who will become a part of our main group. Most of them end up becoming employees of the convenience store, and all of them basically become family to Sakamoto, his wife, and their daughter. And if that isn't enough for you, you can kind of think of it as a mix of Way of the House Husband and kind of heavy on One Punch Man. Like, with our main character looking like a small fry, but it's actually the biggest fish in the sea. And just in general, the way our main cast interact with each other. Speaking of our main cast, Persona! The way they interact and get introduced and everything really reminds me of the Persona formula. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then but simply the way the story progresses, the way we get introduced to the characters that'll join the main group, how they hide the secondary life, the assassin stuff from Sakamoto's wife and daughter, how they don't kill, and even the comedy at some specific points.
How old are you exactly?
Well, I'm a dad.
It all really reminds me of Persona. But I've also seen people talk about how it has taken inspiration from John Wick.
Everything alright? Yeah.
So, Persona, One Punch Man, Way of the House Husband, John Wick, which one is it? It's John Wick. Well, our main character's inspiration is John Wick. But then it's also for everyone else. So let's start with Sakamoto's group. Just who are they? Shin, Sakamoto's right-hand man and a clairvoyant, able to read minds. Lu, the last member of the Triad, an infamous and rich Chinese family. He's incredibly deadly when drunk. Heisuke, a clueless yet deadly sniper who is able to win a sniper duel against the world's best sniper. Pisuke, Hisuke's bird. Amane, the newest member. He has a good memory, I guess. Now that's mainly the people in Sakamoto's inner circle, but Yuto Suzuki, the mangaka, has managed to make almost every single character likable. Even most of the bad guys has some redeeming qualities. And that's not even mentioning all the different abilities and quirks they fight with. Remember the world's best sniper I mentioned got beaten by this guy earlier? He's one of the dumbest yet greatest characters simply because we never see his face. And that's not really too original, but why it's so great is because of how it's portrayed. We only see this guy as a sniper barrel. So instead of where we'd normally just see a guy, we instead just see a sniper barrel, and it's just in these mundane situations, which is just so dumb, it's funny to me. Yeah, that was really exciting, I know, sorry. I'll quick fire a bunch of abilities and weapons or whatever that I think are kinda cool. We have, this Eustace kid wannabe. She can control magnetism with her arm. Some film instructor who's definitely too powerful for his own good. This girl who can only be described as precious and awesome possum. Disguise master, insanely OP crazy old man. Obligatory of course. And that's just to name a few. But there's something important that I haven't really mentioned yet. The elephant in the room, some might say.
Elephant green screen effect.
The art. It's pretty good. Speaking of things that look pretty good, Sakamoto! When he was younger at least. And luckily in his backstory, we see a lot of him in this way. And his backstory is essentially there so we can get an actual introduction to the main villain. But it also has a lot of elements that remind me of a certain character from another manga's backstory. Anyways, we get a low reason to why he's fat and out of shape. He's also apparently only 27 here, but the mangaka deliberately gave him grey hair, which is kind of funny to me. As mentioned earlier, Sakamoto Days is made by Yuto Suzuki and debuted November 21st, 2020. Suzuki had previously made 2 highly acclaimed one-shot mangas before starting work on Sakamoto Days. One of which, and the first actually, was an introduction to that old OP guy I mentioned earlier. Sakamoto Days is currently sitting at a solid 164 chapters as I'm making this script. I can definitely see this getting turned into an anime, and if it did, I can easily see it becoming one of the biggest shonens. I was also going to mention the comedy, but I don't want to.
I get no damn about what your mom said.